So good evening, welcome to the Donny Chain Gang here in the heart of London. We've moved ourselves to a flat course this time, got a big record entry already, 67 riders down there on the start line with lots more to come. My name's Matt Payne, I'm going to be bringing you all of the action on the way through, and I want to say first of all massive thank you to everybody who's given us such great feedback so far. I'm sure there's going to be loads more to come as well. We've got a fantastic route for you today. And lots of spot prizes as well. So spot prizes today coming in the form of Halo caps. And if you excuse me 1 minute, I have one just right here. So this is the Halo Truckers cap. And of course celebrating 20 years of Halo from 2002 to 2020. So they'll be in it to win it. You've got to be on the ride to get these. So make sure you sign up and get riding on the chain gang. I'm going to put that back there because I'm going to no doubt overheat as I work my way through the event. First of all, let's see if we can get a quick word with Russ. Let's see if we can get Russ on the phone. Always an entertaining moment this. We'll see whether he's going to pick up the phone and we can have a quick chat with Russ on the course.
Bloody kids.
How are you doing then, mate? You alright?
Yeah, not my kids, just, lads saying, oh, I can't see it, I can't join.
Oh, they've got to get the tech right.
Well, there's 80 people got on, so I don't know what you're doing wrong, mate.
Proper Yorkshire style, that's what we like to hear. 2 minutes 44, let's keep this really sweet because you're going to need to be pedalling in a second. We've got a basically flat course, quick run-in of something about 5.5 to 6k, and then you're on the course proper, keeping it all together, and then some quick sprints, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's the plan, you know, it's easier said than done coming up with a plan and trying to keep these people together. But no, it's getting better every week, you know, the yellow beacon's there for a reason. We're trying to let everyone get a little bit out of this, you know, even the back markers, the front markers, everything, so it's great. So yeah, I think it's 5.7 rolled into London, cross the mile and have a steady lap and then try and do some little spirties, yeah, you know, see if some green jerseys can be taken again.
Excellent, sounds good, sounds good. Normally when the Donny Chain Gang and the Downing Cycling Club Run are in town, they annihilate the leaderboards and take them all back, so we'll see if that's the case. And some great guests as well with Peter and Tim as well as Andy. So Pete Kenya, Tim Kenya and Andy Roche, a real Manx invasion.
Yeah, I think it's a takeover. One of the lads I was just dissing there saying bloody kids, I think Tyler Hennessy or something, one of the youngsters, I think 16, 17-year-old. He's just popped up, he's seen the Manx invasion, he wants to be part of it. So,
excellent.
Yeah, I think, four or five of them tonight. You might get a Mazzone or two on there if they see sniff a Manx flag or something, they want to stick together.
Definitely. Well, we're going to let you go because you're heading into that 1 minute mark. You've got a job to do keeping this lot all in check. Good luck, mate. And
questions on screen and I need the secretary while I'm there.
Definitely. You should be so lucky. Good luck, mate. We'll catch up with you at the end. See you soon.
Cheers.
So that's Russ. We're going to head quickly off from Russ because the clock is ticking. 45 seconds still to go. And people's heart rates now, this is where people need to be building up the heart rate, getting really warmed up. You can just see the big crowd of riders who are out there now. And it is certainly looking like it's going to be really, really busy. I'm going to be bringing you all of the action on the way through. We're going to focus on our ride leader as soon as they start heading off. And it's a great little course, this. It's one of my favourite courses by a long, long way. Because it's basically flat, which shows you how many pizzas and beers I've had on the way through. So lots of our riders down in here. And we're going to be watching Russ head his way out. He's our plan. That's the musical plan. It never always works with the wonders of technology, but we'll see how we get on the way through. So these are riders off and riding, and we're going to catch up with a quick view as we jump in with Russ. So here we go. Let's bring you the details. The riders all heading out in one big bunch at the moment. As you can see, the riders are starting to head and away, and Russ just leading this group out at the moment. If we jump to our eye in the sky, we're going to get a better view of Russ just sitting in with this group, and you can just see everybody just making the way up the straightest one bunch. Now we'll give you some details on this course, so whilst we get the riders all regrouping, we're going to bring you across, and what I can do, bring you with the wonders of modern technology on the good days. You are going to be able to see where we're going to be heading out on course. So I'm going to leave you for a brief moment, and we'll bring up the wonderful Zwift Insider map. Now this is from Zwift Insider, one of the best resources going, and this sort of shows you the course as it goes out and around the circuit, and you can see on the course basically a very flat course with the riders heading out and around that circuit. And you go on the red section of route, that's the run in, and the run in of this course is currently a run in of 5.7 kilometers, 3.5 miles. The elevation once you get on course is 45 meters per lap, that's 148 feet for people in old school, and it's 11.6 kilometers long is the loop. We're going to be finishing on the line, and for those people who are after the points, an achievement badge for crossing, this is 230 Zwift points. So we're going to head back across to the action, and we're going to go see just where our riders are at out on the course. So our riders are currently making their way up and along the side of the embankment, basically heading out in towards the area that we've used so extensively for things like Tour of Britain. We've been there for Ride Londons, we've been there for the Hovis Bike Festival, if anybody can remember that. Fond memories of that. Even got asked by Prince Charles as he walked across to see his mum the following day whether he was going to make a habit of stealing his lawn for a bike park, would you believe. So our riders heading out and right through. You can just see Russ at the moment sitting in 2/3 of the pack. If you've not watched Zwift before, each of our riders have an avatar. We're focusing on Russ Downing at the moment, and we can see the chevron, the yellow chevron of ride leader over Russ. Russ is our rider. He's riding on a green Pinarello bike, and we can change the angle so we can just see Russ there, brown beard there, and had Russ come round, he's not changed it. He's at the moment got a very nice 1970s dodgy movie tash, and trying to, I think, imitate Tom Selleck as he came on through. So it looks like Russ on that Pinarello, got some lightweight wheels on there. Some of our riders already having discs on there, and it could well be it's Wayne Melvin, I think, maybe with the disc on. See what Wayne is up to a little bit later on. It looks like Pete Kenyuk, one of those riders, failing to make the cut and not getting onto the start line. I'm not sure, he maybe have to take his chevron off, his names off now. We have a little bit of a speed up on this group. It's pretty quick at the front at the moment. Carl Kapinski, Dave Clark is in here. Good to see Dave. I had a really nice chat with him, one of the Tours of Britain, sat at the side with the team buses, and one of the True Jets, a great winner. I was lucky enough to be on the mic when we were down at the East Riding Classic. So good to see Dave here, one of our featured riders always. So we've got a big old pack heading out at the moment. We're going to try and keep the group all together as these riders head through. As we just zoom out on the camera, you can just see as we rotate round these riders, one or two riders just starting to fight their way through in this big group. So 2 watts per kilo max comes the call from Russ. As our riders start to head in, you can just see on your screen quite a lot of stats on there. So at the moment, if you've not looked before, we're watching Russ. He's got the little chevron over the top in the green with the black helmet. Up on the top left hand corner of your screen, 203 watts, that's how much power Russ is putting out through those pedals on his way through. And Russ currently just being dropped off the back a little bit here. Looks like a little bit of a tech issue for Russ. He's producing 3.3 watts per kilo, and he's getting dropped out the back. I think he's deliberately dropping back just to make sure that he picks lots of these riders up here. So here on the Zwift in London, Russ at the moment knocking out 172 watts, 100 revs per minute, nice and smooth, 104 beats per minute. I know for a fact that is Russ hardly doing any work at all. So that's on your top left of the screen. Directly below you can see our leaderboards. So if we kick off first of all in London, we have the wonderful Box Hill climb. Not going to be heading there today on the Greater London Flat. The sprint, this is the key one that we're looking for today. and that's where we're going to see the fastest times coming through. We'll explain a little bit how you get a really fast time on there. No times on there at the moment. The London Loop is another of our London circuits, and that includes this start section, but we're not going to be on that for very long before we move out and round. And of course Keith Hill, another of our hill climbs. This is the wonders of Zwift. You can compare yourself on the way through, but we've got this as a group now, and as a group ride we'll be getting just that group data coming through. So we'll scroll through those and you'll see it populated with the riders' times. Centre of the screen, right up in the middle, you can see that there is a kilometres per hour speedometer on there, a velocimeter, which is 23 kilometres, 22 kilometres an hour, and at the moment they've just turned right and at the moment are climbing up. Now this is Cumberland Avenue, if my memory serves me correctly. It takes you up and into Trafalgar Square, T Square, as it's known by all the event crew who have ever had to work there. It's a lot easier when you're absolutely shattered or you're a rider to say T Square than it is Trafalgar Square. You're going to turn right here and go past Charing Cross Station, go taking the right hand turn, head out and then do a full 180 degree loop. This is still part of the start loop, so this on that original map, and if you go onto Zwift inside, it is part of the red intro route. So our riders at the moment having covered, as you can see on the top of the screen, 4.0 kilometers per hour. So at the moment he's a 4 kpm at the moment, so 4 kilometers covered and 32 kilometers per hour, 32 meters climbed so far. We've been going 6 minutes 44. That group just starting to reform here, and you can see in the middle of the screen the instructions coming from our ride leader. That's Russ Downing. Russ needs no introduction. He's a legend, not just because of the facial hair, but because he's got the fastest legs. Former national champion, World Tour, Pro Tour rider, winner of the Tour of Ireland, beating a number of very, very famous names, including people who at that stage were regarded to have won the Tour de France on his way through in a stage race. Now our rider's coming into the turn, and you can see this big long string strung out all the way around towards the 1 kilometre kite. So just Russ responding to the riders out on the messages, and at the moment just trying to keep everybody together on the way through. So they're heading now in. This is a Tour of Britain style arch. Now we don't have Andy Horse, the route manager for the Tour of Britain, but what we do have on here I think is Rob Kennison. We'll be trying to pick him up because I think Rob, the Finnish manager, is on here. So Rob reminiscing about the Tour Series in Durham, a place I know very, very well indeed. So Russ smashing his way up to the front, and I think now he's going to go slam those brakes on and just pull the group back. So Russ up on the front, and he's just gone flying to the front. He's going to put the brakes on and he's going to hold everybody down. So it's Russ leading them out, Andy Roach jumping on the back. Now Andrew Roach is a fast, quick rider. Andrew, of course, a 7-year career as a pro with well over 100 wins and 30 years of racing experience in total. A very good rider indeed. Now a coach, and of course competing in 7 Commonwealth Games, winning the RAS, winning the Irish TT Champs. A very good rider indeed. Lots of other riders to keep an eye on, but at Andy Roach just at the moment right up in that group near the front. Now we're rolling through. This is the sprint at the moment, and our riders are just making their way in, and as you can see ahead, they're going to go underneath the Ride London banner, and this is the finishing line for the sprint on the Mall. We're heading straight up Buckingham Palace at the moment, and as you can see, Russ still sitting in the middle of that group, and it is certainly looking like quite a compact group. We can take a little bit of a zoom around here because we're going to go have a little bit of a look back and just see how spread out this group is. Now going through that sprint, on your screen you're going to see the riders up in the top right hand corner represented by purple dots. Each of those purple dots is a rider. The yellow chevron, surprise surprise, that's Russ Downing, and that is our ride leader. And as he says, the group is compacto, it's just about all together. So the riders now go up on to Constitution Hill, heading up towards Hyde Park Corner. But the riders do a full U-turn by the Commonwealth Memorials and then come down the opposite side of the road with Buckingham Palace on the right. But at the moment, this is a climb, and it's going to be heading up now. It doesn't look much, but when you've gone through that sprint, you hit this, it's 1 to 2%. It's not the hardest climb on the entire circuit by any stretch of the imagination, but because of where it comes, it is very, very influential. So Russ is sitting on in that group, and you can just see this group moving its way up. It's a very compact bunch, going up towards the top of the circuit. We're going to switch across to the camera view here, and you can see the other feature that we get when we go up onto camera view. We get the big shining beacon. This beacon should say exactly where Russ is. Now, as Russ is saying, our sponsor tonight, as we mentioned earlier, Halo Wheels. Fantastic wheels, and I know a number of riders have been using the discount codes that you get when you compete in join the Downing Chain Gang. Make sure you go onto the Facebook page for all the latest offers. That includes OTE, and got the OTE bottle on the side here, full to keep my voice working all the way through. Tonight it's Halo caps that are going to be heading out to our riders as the guys come through. Now, it looks to me like we might well have a Brownlee in the gang. There was a rumour that we were going to see one of the Brownlee brothers in there as these riders come through. So Russ at the moment in the middle of that group, and if we just take a little bit of a look, you can see it's absolutely packed down in that group. Russ's view, well, this is what Russ is seeing. If you were looking through Russ's eyes or a camera on the front of his helmet, it is absolutely packed on the way through. And we'll just jump up above him as you can just see him working his way down and in. If you look back from Russ, well, behind him it is a big group all working the way down here. But we're going to go back to the favourite shot, and this is going to be our camera. This is our drone camera shot because this lets us zoom in and out. So if we head off out a little bit, we'll be able to see just what that makeup of that group is. Still looking good together. Now, last thing that you need to keep an eye on the right hand side of your screen, these are the riders' individual times. It gives us time gaps. So the moment we've been focusing on Russ, what we can do is we can move our way back down through this bunch, and we're going to work further and further back. You'll see them coming in and through. Big group of riders, about 77 riders. And what we'll see now is we're going to start to see some gaps coming out at the back of here. So sitting 4 seconds back, you have got Akers and you've got Bennett. Those are the two riders at the back of the group, just working the way through the green jerseys. They're currently sitting 5 seconds down. Meanwhile, up near the front of the group, so sitting in the bunch at least, is Dave Clark. So Dave is right in there. Watching Dave. Dave's doing 195 watts. Just watching. It looks like Mark Thwaites is in here. Just going to have a little bit of a look around. John Sutcliffe in here, kicking out 234 watts. Right by our ride leader. Looks like we've got Dean Downing and Russ Downing both in and riding. So just watching Russ at the moment. Dean riding as well. Let's have a look what Dave is getting up to. What is Dave Clark putting out at the moment? Very tricky to keep with him. Here he is. So Dave Clark stats at the moment: 124 beats a minute, 70 revs. Looks like a time trial rider, just kicking his legs around at the moment. 184 watts, heading up for 200. So at the moment, as we watch Clark come through, you can just see from our camera shot here, working our way down through Parliament. There's not going to be that many people in Parliament. Certainly not outside it, never mind inside it, as we make our way down the side of the river here, dodging the furniture on the way through. This group just about all together, 1 or 2 people just getting distanced a little off the back, 4 or 5 seconds to 1 or 2 of the riders. But at the moment, this group just nicely warming up on the way through. And plenty of very fast men in this group as well. Barnard's right up in there. Alan is in there. He's one of our regular riders now. This is the man to watch for when it gets spicy, because this guy is quick. Alan is riding on a pink Tron bike. Let's see if we can get you a look at that bike and show you. You can just see him hiding in the back there. It looks to me like he's in the purple kit again, so purple and grey kit. He's got purple wheels on there, just being shadowed at the moment. So let's see if we can get a better look at Mr. Allen, or maybe be able to go shoot up above him and take a little bit of a sideways view. So here we go, here's Alan. Tron bike. These things only come by Everesting your way in and through, and he's making his way down. Very, very quick rider. One to watch out for when we get to the sharp and we get towards the end of the ride at the moment. Just dropping back, let's have a little look who else is in here. Emma Payne at the moment in there, riding for the Fossa Racing team, one of the DC coached riders. A few women riding this. We'd love to see lots more women coming in and riding this. It is a great group ride, and definitely a great atmosphere once you're in this group as well. So you can just see Andy Roach just down there. Russ sitting just at the back of the group as well now. I'm just seeing Karl Kaplinski in this group somewhere. He was looking good last time out now when we had the hills. So let's have a little bit of a watch on here. So Kaplinski is the man we're centering around at the moment, and he is going to be the rider in with the white hat on just underneath the Manx rating on your screen. And Kaplinski, very, very quick, a man who could finish in the top 2 or 3 on the way through. But at the moment, our star guest, Andrew Roach, very, very comfy indeed. He's now a coach based on the Isle of Man and part of the Man Invasion. It looks like he's the key rider who's made it in. And unfortunately, Peter Tim Kenyon not making it to the start line this time, unless we spot them on the way through. But plenty more big names in here, including, of course, our ride leader, Russ Downing. So this group looking pretty good all together as they make their way through. The camera just tracking up on the top. Karl Kaplinski sat in that group, kicking out 285 watts at the moment, and sitting just towards the back. Now Toy's in here. Toy has been very quick last time round. He was one of those riders that we saw attacking up on the front. Thwaites is in this group as well. Now we're going to look at the riders as they go through. Just taking a little look at Tiger Brown. Let's have a little look. Bailey Wilmot's in here now. Bailey putting a big dig at the front, and got a moment of glory as we came through. And Gill's in here now. Gill, young rider, super fast, scary fast. Seen him on the Downing Cycling Club run. Well, the virtual one, which is pretty much all we get these days at the moment. And just watching Fred here, right up on the front of the group. You can just see, if we take a look back from Fred here, he is leading this group out at the moment, and he is sitting up on the front. He's a man who knows exactly where he needs to be. You can't afford to let gaps go. Now, last time out on Tuesday, we were at the Innsbruck Ring, and this has a brutal climb. It's a leg snapper. It's only about half a kilometre, 600 metres long, but it's an 8%, and it comes on the end of a very bumpy run in. Now that split the group. You couldn't be half a second off the bunch. This time round, no such trigger that you would expect, but the biggest key point on here, the key point that we see the bunch breaking apart on, is actually as we head back towards Hyde Park Corner. Now we're on the far side of the circuit at the moment. We're nowhere near Hyde Park Corner. We headed up Constitution Hill. We did a full U-turn at the top of it, and we got almost close to it. And we're actually almost directly above where we're going to go through a little bit later on. We dip down into the underpass, and what happens is that we motor along towards it. We drop into it, and that means that the pressure eases off. The riders drop their watts. Whether they if they don't pay attention, the turbo trainer will be easing off the brake on there. They'll be producing less watts. They move back through the bunch. It levels and then kicks out from the underpass, and when that happens, that is when you're going to see the gaps starting to go, because that's when you start to see riders who didn't ease off, who kept that pressure on, fly up out of the underpass, ejected out to the front of the group, and that is when the group can split. So you cannot pay attention to everything, but the key thing to pay attention when the guys are riding, they need to watch those wheels. Drafting on here is realistic, as it is with all Zwift games. We're talking about being able to draft within 6 meters, but that drafting effect is multiplied by the riders when you're in a big group. So Gill leading them out. He's taking most of the air. Mark Swift up there. Yep, relative of Ben is Mark, a very good rider in his own right, and great to see Mark back on the Donny Chain Gang. Once again, legendary Donny Chain Gang with a big group down here, down on the streets of London, and giving it some big beans on his way through. So looking good at the moment. We're going to shoot out just a little bit here. Looks like the rider's improving week on week. It's the old saying, if you want to get fast, don't ride with people who are slower than you. It doesn't work. You've got to be with people who are quick. So just keep an eye on Fred Gilbert, the youngster up there. Is Cameron Fraser, another regular on Zwift, up on the front of the group. And just take a little bit of a look at Cam. He's going to be in the blue kit there, the Sigma Sport kit. And I'll be able to just jump out and focus in on him as we go up in the air. Here we are. So in the blue kit, this is Fraser, Cameron Fraser, a very consummate rider on Zwift. With the Tron bike, a surefire sign he's got some time in on there. And he is currently sitting second wheel as we zoom out at the moment. You can just see behind him that group is stretching here. We're in the 1-2%. Now, the guys don't need to worry about pedaling the way in and through the corners. They don't need to worry about pedal straights. They don't have to lean the bikes. But what it does do is it distracts you as you go through those corners. Looks like all of these guys have done the business. As we move up now, we're heading up through Kensington. We're just going to come up alongside Hyde Park. You just see the Serpentine on the map in the top right hand corner, that little bit of lake. If you fancied a dip, if Zwift go from not just having running mountain bikes and road bikes and time trial bikes, they also start to put a swim element in, and there'll be the Serpentine you're going in as we start heading in towards, and just at the very top of that corner of the map you can just see the U-turn of Constitution Hill, and we U-turn just before you get above the underpass. So our riders working their way in and through London. This group all together at the moment. Looks like he's done the time on the front as Russ now starts to pick up the pace. Dave Clark's are looking good in this group at the moment. Fred Gills coming back up towards the front, and I think Russ it is at the moment who is going to be in there. We're going to have to stick with this group a shot. We're going to get some camera breakup as we go through underneath. So we're going to have a group sprint on the mile, and I think we're going to then have a regroup. So the fastest times through are going to win a cap. It's going to be a halo cap on the line. This is going to get interesting now. It's going to be interesting to see just who can keep in control. No power-ups allowed, so we're going to be keeping our eye on that. Fortunately, we're recording all of this as well, so we'll be able to just double-check back, make sure our winners don't have anything going on in terms of power-ups, because that makes it a lot easier. If we want to know what power-up is, above some of these riders you can see on this hillside here, we see circles with little icons in there. Now the aero helmet, that gives them better aero. It's about 50% reduction in drag. At times it's 20 to 50%. Up there is a feather that reduces the weight in basically 20 to 50% as well. Depends on the gradient as how much effect it feels like it has as you go through. There are also ones with burritos. They stop you from drafting. If you've got a van, that allows you to get double draft effect. So when you would have been getting 20% reduction in your watts, you get a 40% reduction. You've got to choose it wisely. However, no power-ups allowed this time round. Our riders are not going to be able to activate them. Some really interesting choice in bikes here, because just seeing Bernard come through, and Bernard here I think he's riding a disc rear wheel and a zip deep on the front. Great aerodynamic properties, not great to accelerate up, and our riders will be scrutinising those drag figures on the way through. They're going to want to make sure they get that just right as Barnard just jumping onto the back wheel there. Just seeing John Smith from out of the saddle. He is in this group, and I think we're just starting to see some splits coming in this group. We're going to try and take a little bit of a look down this group. Now they're going to come down. This is slightly downhill here, 3% downhill. The speed is picking up. They're going to take the left-hand turn, and it looks like that group that split on the top of the hillside there. Russ just at the back of the group. He's going to need to get this group back together again. There's some very keen riders in here for the sprint, so we're going to take a look across. I don't think Russ is going to be right up at the front. Let's see who's going to be taking this out on the front. He's got some work to do. Ben Worth is moving up quite nicely. Luke Stone's in there. Dean moving up. Fred Gill up near the front. Now I'm seeing a 16-year-old. Is that hanging up there? It is. He's not too far off the front of the pace here. I'm going to try and get right to the very front of this group if we can. As we work our way up, you can imagine it's a bit like trying to ride a motorbike in through this lot. Very, very difficult to do so. To get a good look as these riders come in. Sawyer it is, who's just being mobbed up on the front now. He drops back. We're going to go back to Gill. Gill's going to be leading this out, I think, on his way through. Roach is in there, though. The experienced head of Roach has moved up to the first wheel. Is this a mistake, though? Because he could be losing out as they come in and through. And you're just seeing them powering on, and he's going to get mobbed out of this if he's not careful. It looks like Gill is still riding strongly, but has he got enough to stay up at the front? I don't think he has. We're going to go back up to the front. It looks like Bolt has gone hard here. Sawyer's making a move over the top here. But look at this. It looks to me like Graham has gone hard here. He's going to be the man who's going to be leading it out. It's a massive sprint through. Who's going to take it? The times are going to come rolling in here. Big watts per kilo coming out here. 10s, 11s, 12s, 13s, 14s. Now, has it been done by Russ or Dean? It is going to be a green jersey for Russ Downing. Russ Downing takes the men's green jersey. I think that means he gets the cap all of his own. So looks to me like Russ has been in and through. He's now going to use the power to try and give himself some pace. He's going to regroup. And there's a big old gap back behind them. So we're going to take a little bit of a look up the road here. This is the leading group who came through that sprint. But as they came through, it was Russ Downing taking the victory from Dave Clark. 10-1-3 from a 10-3-4. Well, let's pull this back up once again. So looks like Russ in a grumpy mood after that one. Looks like he needs a bit more of the Grand Tour coffee to get him settled back down again. Russ taking it 10.13. Dave Clark 10.34. Kirkpatrick at 10.38. Another phenomenal time on his way through. Little with a 10.41. Allen, we said he was good. We said he was quick. 10.45. And Herring, the man who has managed to bin Russ Downing off one of the King of the Mountains, goes through. He has taken the top 5 spot there. He comes in, sorry, top 7 as he comes through. So it looks like Herring right up in the top 10. Allen is in there, Moore is in there. Now we're going to take a little bit of a look for our women's sprint times. It is a little bit tricky to see who's got that at the moment. Now the candidates could well be Emma Payne, who's going to be in there. You think it is going to be Emma who's taken that women's green jersey. Russ now complaining that he's dead though, so I think he's only got himself to blame. Come on, Russ, you old fella, you're supposed to have some stamina when you get a bit older. So it looks to me a little bit of a kick off the front here. There's 1 or 2 riders. Now they're either being lapped or they're on a big attack here. So the riders are kicking on off at the very, very front. Let's have a little look now. A little bit of a dig there at Matt Taylor as we move our way up to the front. Just having a little look here at Thornley. Thornley up at the front of the group. Here is the rider we're just focusing on. We're just trying to take a little bit of a look. I think that group has come all back together on that descent. And they have indeed. So, yeah, just see Thornley now. Thornley in his traditional Z Peugeot jersey there. And that group just in front. And looks like they're all coming through. Ben Worth's back in this group again. Worth is getting quicker and quicker, I'm sure, every week. And you just see him coming in and through as we see Thornley moving up onto the front. A fantastic Peugeot-inspired jersey. Meanwhile, Swift Riders making the way in and through. And you can just see Thornley dropping his way down. He's not going to go too far. Mark Thwaites rolling around him. Sawyer rolling around him. And looks like Dean is in there as well. Now this group are going to need to reform. Kirkpatrick just sitting on near the back of that group. We're just watching a secondary group behind them now. And let's see just where those riders are. That gap has certainly opened up. So taking a little bit of a look up the road. A few riders fighting to come back on once again. It's very, very hard to get back once that attack goes. Once the pressure comes on, that gap opens up. So Russ starts taking a little bit of a look back. Now we've got a group forming behind. Let's have a little look at these guys. Now this group behind this is Smith, Pugh and Corden. And these are riders. We've got 4 riders together at the moment. So this is Smith. We've also going to have a little bit of a look across. So we can see there. We've got Pugh, Smith, Corden and Smith in that group. Then behind them there's another group now sitting at 23 seconds. And at the moment, if we take a little bit of a look up, this is our next group of 4 people out on the course. Daniel Jones is in there as we take a little bit of a look down, and then a group behind here. Now this is a very good group because we've seen Emma Payne here, Bailey Wilmot in here as well. Looks like Brownlee is in that as well as sorry, Brownlee's been distanced by that, so it is Richards and Jones, Wilmot and Payne sitting at 25 seconds down on our leading group. Now will they be able to push back into that group? Is Russ going to be able to patrol them down? It's a long way round this circuit. Russ is going to be able to see some of these times behind him as our rider leader eases up, so I think expect some grumpy shouts from Russ on the way through the course. So they're going to go around now. Some of the Zwift courses turn left here over the bridge. Not going to happen no to Russ today as we jump up with the eye in the sky. I don't think we're going to see much of Russ. It looks like he's about to make contact with that group. So yeah, you can just to see he's closing down on the group in front. And we've got 45 seconds back for some of them. So some of the riders behind, so we'll see how Russ deals with this. Can he get... Now the guys that are going... It looks like Russ has got on. John Smith sitting at 23 seconds, 45 seconds to Sutcliffe. And that Jones group now sitting at 52 seconds. So we can just take a little bit of a look up into the sky. Let's have a little bit of a look up at Russ here. He's just making contact with this group, and I don't think there's very many people in close proximity behind. He's going to work his way up to the front of the group. That was a very fast sprint through. Let's have a little recap of some of these top times on the way in and through the circuit as soon as we get round. At the moment, the guys are going out and round on what is a opposite direction in Zwift world. And the Zwift courses have the sprints in two different directions. One way it's a 200 metre sprint, the other is a 300 metre sprint. The 200 metre sprint is the one we're doing now. However, this route traditionally would come back into the 3, so we'll have to pick those times up as we come back around. And that's indicated if you're looking at your screen. Russ Downing, as we look down on Russ, Russ is down there. We'll give Russ a big thumbs up. He has the chevron and the green jersey. So the chevron and that green jersey with Russ Downing at the moment. Russ sort of moving his way along. So at the moment the time checks are going into Russ. Yeah, no problems, Russ, mate. Bring me some more coffee there, buddy. Looks like they're not coming back. So that's it. It's been narrowed down. It's going to be for the group behind to fight. So Russ concentrating on the ride this time, sitting on the front, just holding it all together, just seeing that group start to come around. Looks like Alan being just pushed back a little bit. We can just see if we have a little bit of a zoom in. The man on the back of this group, that is Alan. He's very distinctive on that Tron bike with that matching kit as he goes through. Dave Clark, he's on a great ride here, absolutely class rider, great to watch him in action. You can just see Fraser, he's the rider with the blue Tron bike, just sitting near the back of this group, currently sitting about 4 or 5 wheels from the back, looking to see if he's going to move his way up. There's quite a lot of bikes in there. Mark Swift using the power to good use. Mark, not the lightest rider in the bunch, but he's got some big watts, and looks like Russ has got on the offensive here. Now, if they're not going to come back together again, I think Russ has just shook it up. He's going for it. That Pinarello bike under there, you can see that Russ at the moment is kicking on here. Now, Russ has moved up. He's on 330 watts here. We're going to take a little bit of a look back from Russ. Russ kicking hard at the moment. He's just starting to ease back from 300 watts and he's dropped back down again. That's shaking him up. That's giving him a bit of a surprise. And all of a sudden, everybody's kicking off. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if Russ now doesn't just sit up and just let them all burn themselves out. So, response coming there. So Swift it is who's got up onto the front. Looks like Brown responding to that. Some big watts per kilo, just heading up to 7. He comes up on the side there of Swift and goes around him. So let's have a little look at our leader now then. And this is Brown. He's gone a little bit solo at the moment. He's got a gap of a second, which is only going to be about 10-15 metres at the moment from Sawyer, from Swift. Little. Looks like Gavel, Herring, Fraser, Worth, Gill, Downham all starting to close that gap down, not letting him get too far as he goes through. And there we go, he's just got caught by that group. So it looks like Brown just being pulled back. Just watching these names as they come in and through, it really is a who's who of the Donny chain gang. Some very quick rise from these riders, some very quick closing down by putting the power down at the right time. And I think the gloves are off now. I think Russ has indicated that after that sprint it's split now. There's plenty of icons being used. So Russ just having put a bottle on his head. Hopefully it's nothing too fizzy and too sticky, but Russ normally fueled by OTE, one of the partners of Downing Cycling, and that's going to be a sticky old time on the bike if you got that wrong. So big group of riders all still together. It looks to me like we've got about 35 riders in this group. Lots of big names in there like Kaplinski that we see, Kenning still in there, Moore still in there, Clark still in there, Dean is hovering in this group as well. He's not going too hard at the moment. We're going to try and catch up with Dean, and just a little bit tricky when you've got the riders coming through so fast. As Dean looking at the moment quite well. Now here we are with Kaplinski. Kaplinski kicking out some big watts per kilo, 4 watts per kilo on his way through. So you can just see this group as they go through. The beacon drop down overhead at the minute. Our riders on the climb up now. Whilst we've got a little bit of a pause in hostilities, I want to say a massive thank you to our sponsors. Remember guys, this only happens because of the wonderful sponsors we have at Downing Cycling. So I want to say a massive thank you to the guys at Grand Tour Coffee, not just for fueling my back pains, caffeine addiction, but also of course for making sure that we're sharp and on the ball. A big thank you to Muck-Off, keeping the bikes clean. Clean bikes, a fast bike, we all know that. Big thank you to Pinarello, of course Russ out there riding on his green Pinarello today. He was actually out down, called around to drop some kit in down at my house today, and he was looking very, very smooth out on the bike. Just having a little look else. What other bikes are in there? Nah, just Pinarellos, that's it. OC of course keeping us fueled up, Wahoo, making sure that we're nice and accurate with the watts per kilo and making sure we get that power measured. Mallorca segment and HMT Hospitals. And you may have noticed a little bit of a bandage arm up because managed to have a little bit of a lay down on the bike not too long ago. So just letting that all heal up, and I'll say a big thank you to HMT Hospitals for doing the business. But today's big sponsor is Halo Wheels. They've sponsored a number of these as well on the way through. Great stuff. And of course Halo Ambassador, and that is Tom Knight, getting a great ride in as we were out and around the Innsbruck ring. Now we're with the riders in the underpass. We can't go too far away from them as we drop down under Hyde Park Corner. This is where we saw the gap start to open up on the way through. So the last time the group split here, we had a bunch sprint from these riders, and the way to win the bunch sprint, we told you the way to go quick. It's not to go from the front of the group. You might think, yeah, I'm going to be the first over the line on the fastest. Not a chance in hell. That's not how it's going to work. You'd need to have sprint power like Cavendish. And even Cavendish at the moment, not sure whether he's too scared to come on the run or he's too busy at the moment, but we have put out the feelers to see if he can show us all how it's done. But when you get to Zwift, you've got to get yourself on there. So Zwift racing is about getting the aerodynamic drag. It's playing the game correctly, and the way to do it is to sit at the back of a group, take the shelter, and then have that shelter from the start of the sprint to the finish of the sprint. You want to be getting to the very front of the group as you're about to cross the line. That's absolutely critical. But if you're at the back of the group and just seeing Russ moving his way up with that chevron above him, you've got to be really, really attentive. I think Chris Gale has just got dropped off the back. No, he's just sitting in the back of that group. But behind that group, if we take a little bit of a scroll around here, you can just going to see a rider just being distanced, 2 riders just being distanced off the back, and they are going to struggle to stay with this group if it all gets very, very quick indeed. So we're going to get up over and above these riders so we can get a better look at what's going on here. It's stringing out on the downhill. Now this is my best spot on the entire course, 4% downhill. Use my bigger mass, 85 kilos I've got. That's what it says on Zwift, that's what it is on the scales. No weight dumping for me, quite the reverse. We go down here. This is where I can put down big watts, big power. Gonna go quick. The moment it goes uphill, that's it, I'm stuffed because I've got no chance, because 85 kilos is a lot to haul up, particularly when we get some of the younger riders, people like Ewan McLeod, who comes in. I think Ewan must only weigh about 3 kilos if he's really lucky wet through on a downpour. It's a little bit more than that, but it's still very, very light. And these younger, smaller riders, they have to put out a lot of watts per kilo, because when we're on the flat, it's about aerodynamics, it's about raw power, and it's about the skill to stay in the wheels. This is a very compact group coming in now as we're going to come down. We're going to take this sharp right hand turn in Trafalgar Square, in T Square, and it's going to spit everybody around. This watts per kilo have really shot up here. You can see we're in with Cal Kaplinski, a really good rider. He's kicking out 4 watts per kilo. We're starting to see 5s, 5.1s at the moment. As this group comes through now, we're going to just jump up onto the front of this group because we want to see who's going to come through in that lead in that group. It is looking to me like it is starting to stretch a little bit. The power's coming on, the pressure's going on the front. Who is it who is going to lead them out at the moment? Looks like Clark is moving well at the moment. It looks like all these riders are absolutely giving it some at the moment. So who is it going to be? Who's going to take it out to the line? The guys are going. It's going to be one lap to go as they come in and through. And at the moment, there's one or two riders giving it some on the way here. This is dangerous though, because you might get yourself a fast sprint time. Remember, 10.13 is the time to beat. Is anybody going to beat Russ's time on that sprint jersey? I don't think they're going to have done it this time around. I'll take a little bit of a look. No, 10.13 still going to be the time to beat. As that pressure went on. Now, if you go too hard for a sprint that doesn't exist, the big danger is you've gone into the red zone. We're now going to do the turn up onto the hill. You can just see these riders coming round the corner here, snaking the way in and through. And what is going to happen? They hit this slight rise here, and anybody who went too hard is in big trouble, because they're not going to stay with that leading group now. It looks to me like the splits are going to start happening if we're not careful as we go through. So let's take a little bit of a look up nearer the front of this group. Where's our ride leader? Where's Russ? Well, Russ is nicely in this group, and I think he's just moving his way up. Yep, moved up into a third, if not fourth wheel. So here we go, Russ moving his way up towards the front of the group. The Pinarello ambassador riding on those halo wheels, heading up the group on his way up. Toast. He's still sitting 3.7 watts per kilo, but he's drifting back now. He's had it as Russ gone pop. I think he's gone pop faster than a bottle of champagne being shaken on a podium stage at the moment. He dropped those watts per kilo off, but you never know with Russ. He's a cagey rider. We'll see if he can keep it together to stay in that group. Who's your money on coming through? Well, don't forget, Russ has currently the green jersey. Dean has been very quiet. I haven't seen Dean in this group for a little while. Looks like Clark is in there. Remember, Clark, the second fastest time on the clock, on the screen, on the green jerseys. So at the moment it's Downing, Clark, Kirkpatrick. Kirkpatrick's quick. He's got some serious power. Little's in there. Allen, you can never discount him as they come in. And it looks to me like the guys are at the moment just struggling to split this thing apart. It's still a pretty big group here. As we start to zoom out to take this in, it looks to me like that is going to be about 20 riders leading its way down in. Yep, 21 riders at the moment. And it's going to go across onto Birdcage Walk. So they could take this left-hand turn coming up, and they're going to go down past the barracks, which are on the right-hand side as they go down the side here of the park. So St James's Park in the heart of London. On the left-hand side, the barracks coming up. On the right-hand side, the group all together of 20 leading riders. Russ Downing sitting on the back of there, and looks like Thornley. He's at 34 seconds. The Waits at a minute 12. Gale at 1:13. Mark Swift, rider we saw on the front, 1 minute 42, and Andrew Roach, well, blimey, he has gone backwards. He is currently sitting nearer the 2 minutes mark. Now, we're going to have to be careful here. Our cameras at the moment focused on Russ. Russ just dropping off the back here. He needs to get back on. He's going to be working really hard if we're not careful. And looks like Russ just picking it up, 4.5 watts per kilo mark at the moment. Looks like Hanne's on a good little ride here. Hanne sitting in this group. We're just going to pop him right up onto the top. So you just see Hanne here. He's the rider in the black, just in the front, 16 years old. There's some fast riding. That's a fast set of legs. Got a disc on as well. He knows how to play this game. The youngster there making sure he's minimising the amount of effort he's going to put in. More watts per kilo you can kick out, the better. Less watts you expend going round, the better. So that's where you'll see Tron bikes. You're going to see the disc wheels. You're going to see the better, stiffer, more rigid bikes. And that's absolutely key. So Hanne's going on. You can give him a big thumbs up as he goes through. And I think this is Dean Downing. Now let's have a look at Dean. See how hard the old fella's working. You can always tell Dean from Russ. You know how? You got Silver Fox Dean there, orange cap, just riding alongside Russ, but on the far side of him there, and that is looks like he's just moving up. So Dean Downing highlighted for you here as he goes in round on that left hand side. Dean has been pretty quiet. Has he got the pace to do the business? The Downing coaching works for the riders. Does it work for the governor as well? He's definitely the governor on the Downing Cycling Club run that goes out on a Saturday. Virtual one at the moment with some real big names on there, coached by Dean. And of course by MTB Tom, one of the new coaches at Downing Cycling. And Russ, of course, leading out the Donny Chain Gangs, and myself, Matt Payne, bringing you all of the words and action. Occasionally pedaling in bikes, managed to get a quick half hour before we started today. So we just see Dave Clark moving up towards the front, and you can just see it's bunching a little bit here. And that's a sign that this group are not having to work too hard. I'm seeing some 3s, some 3.1s, 3.5s, 3.7s in this group, and that means that the pressure has come off. Alan is on the front at the moment, leading them out on that Tron bike. Herring comes round the outside. Farmer's been hovering there or thereabouts. I'm not sure, see how he's going at the moment, whether he's got enough. Ferret is right up there, but will he be up there faster than a ferret down a rabbit one? I'm not so sure. I don't think he's got the power to out sprint some of the big guns in here. We've got national champions, we've got former national champions, we've got Mark Thwaites with a phenomenal sprint on him. Started off, as we mentioned last time out, at the Roundy Grass Track. I had the pleasure of organising that for 11 years. I must have been mad in my younger years, that's for sure. 11 years of looking after riders down on that track. Mark, one of the riders who came through, Lizzie Dining, starting off on there. People like Anna Blythe, as well as certain Pidcocks turned up more than once or twice. Joe and Tom kicking off their racing down there. Even before we were even allowed them to race, they were trying to get in with the bunch, even when they had stabilisers on. So the riders, one group. I think we're not going to see too many attacks. I don't think anybody is of a mind that they're going to get themselves clear of the front of that group and manage to stay away. We're going to take a little bit of a look back. Let's see if we can find Mr. Roach, see where he's gone to, see how far back he's dropped. So looking up for Andrew Roach, we'll see if he is out on that circuit. It looks to me like he is, so let's see if we can get a view with Mr. Roach. There we are. I think that's Andy Roach just sitting in here. He's got a nice group around him here. He's got Mark Smith, John Smith of Oates out of the saddle, riding with him as well. Now this is the group that's directly behind Mark Thwaites and co. So the group just sitting 30 seconds in front. Looks like Smith is in this group as well. Coordinate is in there. Roach is in there behind them, and you can see some more groups forming behind. So this looks to me like this is Barnard. It's got Jones in there as well, sitting behind this group. Then next group back, this is Richards. He's got Jones, Payne in there. Oral and Elvin a little bit further back. Dowse sitting a minute back at the moment from Richards. So riders scattered all the way around the course as we start to make our way up towards the very front group. Here we are back with that front group, and once again just watching Mr. Brown here on his way through. So Brown right in the middle of this pack, looking good. Herring's in there looking smooth still. So Brown 260 watts, no heart rate monitor on, so we can't tell quite how hard he's working. Dean Downing at the moment 150 beats per minute. The old ticker holding out on the old fella nicely at the moment, sitting in that group. And Dean Downing, orange cap, he's got the Oakley M frames on there. Looks to me like the bike, obviously up in a row doing the business for him today. He's up in front of the guys in front, so let's see how the group is holding out. It certainly looks to me like it is pretty secure for Dean in there. He's got Russ not too far away, just coming around the outside. So let's have a little bit of a look around. Yep, Russ is in there. You can just see that beacon as they circle in and round. As the spectators watch on, not going to get many of those this year. I don't think. The latest announcement from British Cycling being a staggered set of notice for events, but at the moment major events, national series, etc., not going to start till at least the 1st of September. So we're going to be on Zwift plenty more now. Harrison is in here. Harrison has gone well the last few times on the club run, looking very smooth, looks nice. We're going to have a little bit of a look at some more of these riders How is Kirkpatrick doing? He's one rider that we know is going to be good. So let's have a little look. Kirkpatrick is the rider dead centered here in the green on the yellow Tron bike here, going around the outside. And at the moment, to me, he's looking okay. 251 watts, going up to 300, but still holding that heart rate, sub 160. 85 revs per minute, nice and fluid as well. Got the ability to rev up and down from those, by no means up near the top of his rev range as he goes in and through. Russ, praying for rain. There's a hard Yorkshireman. You don't go any slower on a Donny Chain Gang. If it starts raining, that is for sure. So Kirkpatrick looking good. Let's see who else is going to be right up there now. We're with Toy. Let's have a little look at Toy stats. 350 watts. He's giving it some 91 revs, 166. Potentially working harder, but he's pushing out more watts at the moment. He's not right on the front of this group though, so I wouldn't expect him to be expending the most energy. That's going to be reserved for the guys who are right up at the very front. Looks like there's been a little bit of a dig because we just seen a few of the power-ups being used here. It's a 0, 0, a -1. Descent down here. We're just going to jump back into this group, gone a little bit far up the road there, so there we go. Just get a good view of the guys right at the very front here. Here we go, Stanley Line in there from Chef Rex CC. It's not a surprise if you've seen him out and riding. Fulton in there, Johnson, Little in this group as well. More moving up and through. We're on to this descent now. This is where you've got to keep the power on. The extra drafting power coming from Russ on the way through. Just seeing an aero coming there. And look at the difference it's making. That aerodynamic advantage is definitely working now as Harrison goes on to the front there. Harrison from Tuxford on that bike, on that aero bike, just drops back a little bit now that the aero has come back off again. Toy is kicking along here. They know they've not got too far to go. Remember, we're going to go climb up out of here, and this is where they've got to be on this group. They cannot afford to let this group go. One or two people yo-yoing at the back of the group. You can just see them coming into shot at the moment, but this group has to stay on together on this climb. If you get dropped here, you are not going to make it into the finish, and the pressure is on. There's a power-ups going all over the place on this. Just watching these riders come through, and at the moment the group's starting to split. It is starting to break at the back. Allen's could get caught napping here if he's not careful. He's going to need to push on. We're going to move up to Dean now, because Dean is sitting nicely in this bunch. You can tell an experienced pair of legs here. Dean pushing out 281 watts, 160. The heart rate just about. You can just see Dean in this group at the moment. It is looking to me like the pressure on at the front, it's strung out. We saw that big blobby bunch. Not happening this time, and I think there's been a move on the front here. We're going to shoot up. Yes, there has. Who is it? What a surprise. It's Fraser who's gone for it. Fraser from the Nun Sigma Sport team, all on his own in the pouring rain. Well, he's going to be keeping him clear of the rest of the bunch. He's done this time and time again. He did it as we were out in Innsbruck Ring with a lap to go. He's gone hard and he's gone early. Remember, we've got to get back to Trafalgar Square, go round the turn, and it's a long run in from Admiralty Arch all the way into the finish. And that group should sweep him up. It's Clark who's doing the work, and the gap at the moment of 3 seconds. You're going to try and take a little bit of a look back. He's pulling it back. It's down to 1 second. This is going to be curtains for Fraser. It's going to be all over. Clark comes past, absolutely powers past him. As a Little, he's putting in some big watts. He wants to get across to that group at the very front at the moment. So as they come in and round, it's Clark now with another big kick here. So Clark is trying to kick his way right up into that front group, trying to stay right up there. So just watching Clark, and another rider giving it the drafting, but that draft now doesn't work. He timed it right. That draft, you saw Count, brought him to the front, and it just finished as he got to the front. That was Little coming through. And it looks like Porter James coming round the side. Fraser's up there. It's by no means over for these riders. But if we take a little bit of a look back, where is that group behind? I think they've got a gap here that could stick. It's only a few seconds, 3 seconds on the mile, but that bunch is a big bunch. There's about 18 riders left in there. Who is going to be able to take it out? I think we're going to see a big long kick in here from the man from Sigma Sport. It is going to be Fraser who is going hard at the moment. Here we go, he's on his way towards that line. Is he going to hold them off? Can anybody come round him? He's going to get mobbed here though. Big kick coming from the outside. Porter James comes round, but it's going to be Clarkey who's going to come for it. And Clarkey's giving it the digs. Allen is trying to close him down, standing on there, but it looks to me like Clark can really motor his way through. 13.8 watts per kilo as he came through the line there. And it looks to me like that has secured him the last sprint in through the line. 55 minutes of riding. That group now starting to reform. What a rip-up. The question is, did they get any faster time-wise? No, still Russ with that fastest time of the day done when it was a big group early on. So some great riding in today's ride is going to be Halo catching out. 1 or 2 people already on clipping. They've had enough. That's it. No more watts, no more pedalling for them. Are some shattered bodies. Look at Fraser. He's down at 1.9 watts per kilo. Toy's just backed off the pedal. He's at 0.1. Kirkpatrick's come through quite hard. Well, we're going to take a little bit of a look. Looks like is that Dan DeGray just coming through. So the riders in and through. We're going to take a little bit of a look back. We'll just try and get ourselves back a little bit further. See if we can get our way back down into the run in towards the mile. You can see who's still to come in to the mile as we see these riders coming through. Some great riding here in London at the moment. It looks like one of our hard chili riders just starting to make his way in and through. So some great riding. Good to see so many riders putting in some fast rides out on circuit. I think we've still got plenty of people still making the way in to the finish. But Dave Clark, what a ride by him. I want to stick with him for the moment. And Clark going through there and pedaling nice and smooth. Those zip wheels doing the business. Second fastest time of the day in the sprint. The fastest man over the line at the finish as well. Taking top spot, holding off the challenge from Porter James. And doing the business all once again. Great riding and great to have so many people on the Donny Chain Gang. Don't forget, make sure that you join the Facebook group. Make sure, of course, that you also follow the feed on YouTube, and make sure that you get yourselves in onto Zwift. Get as many upgrades as you can. You're going to need them on the legendary Donny Chain Gang as our riders make their way in and through the finish here. Now let's see where Roach is. Let's see if we can get a view of Roach. Looks like Roach is on his way in now. This is quite a big group of riders. It contains plenty of our riders who were just distanced. This I think is about a second group on the road at the moment. So let's take a little bit of a look. I think we're going to see a little bit of a sprint up from these guys as well. The second sprint in. So here we go. Roach in this group. Looks like Pugh in there. Thornley in the Peugeot jersey is well in front of them. So it looks like Roach just in this group working hard, leading it out at the minute. You can see that Swift is there. Now Mark Swift, he's the big guy with no beard, just alongside. Just dropping into third wheel at the moment. Thwaites is in this. Corden is in this. Ellis is in this. I think Smith out of the saddle is in here, but Pugh is the one who's kicking at the moment. So we're going to keep an eye on Pugh because I think he's got enough power to take this home. It looks to me like he's into the sprint, leading it out. He's got Roach on his wheel. Pugh now kicking up to 8.2 watts per kilo. Ellis is coming though. Look at this. This is Ellis coming on his way through here. Thwaites is on the kick though in the orange. So it's Thwaites in the orange who goes under the line and takes that sprint from Mark Swift. Going through. Roach in there. Corden in another big group coming into the finish, ripping the way in. And looking very good indeed. So, seeing our riders coming in through now. Next up, we're just looking at Bolt. I think Bolt is on his way through. He's come through the finish line as well by the look of it. So it is Bolt who's gone in and through. These groups now make their way and join the rest of the riders out on circuit with everybody else who's out on London. And at the moment there's plenty of riders out there, that is for sure. So great riding, great to see so many people out on circuit. Great to have Andrew Roach. Thank you, Andrew, for joining us on the Donny Chain Gang. Don't forget guys, lots of catch up. We're hoping to bring you lots more. We need your support to do it though. we can't bring you all this footage. Remember, myself, Matt Payne, Dean and Russ all doing this all free at the moment, trying to keep the cycling family all stitched together and provide a great bit of inspiration for our riders to go out and train. If you need to get in touch, you can get hold of me at my email, that is matt@fullspeedevents. You can get hold of Russ or Dean, and it's Russ or Dean at Downing Cycling. Make sure you stay in touch, follow the Facebook groups. It's been another pleasure putting words to the action. We'll see you on the Donny Chain Gang very, very shortly indeed. Hopefully on Tuesday, and that will be announced on our Facebook page. From me, Matt Payne, a pleasure putting words to the action. Good night.